World War One, the Great War, as it's also known. Not a whole lot of movies based on World War One, not that I can remember anyway. Most movies focus on World War II or Vietnam. But Sam Mendes, he is now giving us a movie based on World War One. And it's based on the events of his grandfather, actually, Alfred Mendes. When he served in World War One, I believe that he said he was something like 19 years old. So the events that take place in 1917 are real somewhat. The characters, they're fictional. But a lot of this movie is based in fact. And Sam Mendes just flat out gave us a masterpiece. This movie had me on the edge of my seat. I saw it yesterday. I probably should have saw it last week when it came out worldwide. I don't know why they did a limited release around Christmas. I don't get that. This movie should have been released worldwide for the whole entire world to see up front. Because this movie, I believe, was an all-timer. Now, I've been on record saying that Joker was the best movie of 2019. I'm not so sure about that now. I'm really not. 1917 may be a better movie than Joker. It's definitely a different type of movie. I get that. But for this movie to really kind of have me on the edge of my seat that way, I can make a good case. This is one of the best movies I've seen in a very, very long time, along with Joker. Sam Mendes, he delivered the goods on this. And a big shout out to Roger Deakins. Roger Deakins, man, he was the cinematographer on this movie. This may have been the best cinematography I've ever seen in my life. They did the one-shot method. And apparently he's the king of this. He's the king of it, because if you go in watching this movie, there's only 2 cuts in the entire movie, so to speak. Now, of course, they didn't do one continuous shot of the entire movie. They did multiple takes, but they used some trickery to make it look like it was all one continuous shot. Now, there's a break in there because it starts at the beginning all the way until the stars of the movie, actually one of them gets knocked out cold. And then he wakes up again and the movie continues on and doesn't miss a beat. Now, the story of this movie is very, very simple. Lance Corporals Blake and Schofield need to deliver a message to the front line to tell the British that they need to stop the attack because it's a trap by the Germans. The Germans want them to attack. And they're in France actually fighting World War One. And at that time, of course, they didn't have a phone that you can just pick up on the front line and say, hey, call off the attack. They needed messenger by foot. So Blake and Schofield, they go on foot to deliver the message. And it's actually going to be kind of dangerous because there's enemies still out there. The Germans are still out there. And if you're looking for an all-out, flat-out war movie, you're not going to get that in this movie. This is definitely more scaled down than that. There really isn't a complete battle scene, so to speak. I know at the end they start the real battle, but you only see the British coming out the trench and running towards the Germans. So you don't actually technically see them fight. Now, there is a couple of battles with guns and a little bit of hand-to-hand combat, but that's really about it. This movie is all about them trying to achieve their mission. That's it. And this movie will make you kind of emotional. I mean, the characters in this movie are so relatable, if you ask me. They're so relatable. It's all about family to a certain extent too, because Blake actually has a brother that's going to be on the front line. And if he doesn't get that message to the front line, his brother could possibly be killed along with 1,600 other people. So Blake is highly motivated to deliver the message on time before the battle starts. Now, I'm not going to really spoil anything in this. I think you really have to see this movie really to appreciate how great it is, if you ask me. And of course, there is some cameos in this movie too of bigger name actors, because the two main stars, Dean Charles Chapman and Georgia McKay, they play Blake and Schofield respectively. Not a lot of people know who they are. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is in this movie. Mark Strong is in this movie. Richard Madden is in this movie. People know those guys, you know. I mean, everybody knows Benedict Cumberbatch from the MCU movies. I mean, Richard Madden from Game of Thrones. And Mark Strong, he's just a good bad guy and everything. But all of those guys are limited to about 2 minutes of screen time total. They're just cameos in the movie, nothing more. And the way they shot this movie, they almost made it feel like the audience was a member of the cast. Because when Blake and Schofield are going on their mission, you can actually feel like you're in there because the way they do the shots. You know, like when you're playing a video game, you see the back of the character playing. Some of the scenes are actually shot like that to really kind of engage the audience in there. Because the beauty of the one continuous shot thing is that you get to see everything from the main character's perspective. Everything. There's really nothing from a third party perspective in this movie. None. Zero. Zilch. This is all about them. This is really a two-person movie. And really, when you get down to it, without spoiling it, it's almost technically a one-person movie in a way. But for the most part, two people. Now, World War I, there's not a whole lot that I actually know about that, because in school, they don't really focus on World War I. They mainly focus on, Vietnam and especially World War II because of Nazi Germany. I almost think that World War I is kind of forgotten in a way. So if you didn't really experience it, or you don't know people in your family that actually experienced it, you don't really know what it was like in that particular war. And I get it, World War II, much bigger name per se, even though World War I was called the Great War. But World War II historically may seem like it was an even greater war, if you think about it. But Sam Mendes, this may have been his best work yet. He gave us Skyfall, he gave us American Beauty. This may be his best work. I think anyway, in my opinion. This movie easily gets a 9.5 out of 10 from me. That's how good it is, guys. It's absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic. Go see this movie. Because 2019, there was a lot of duds at the movie theater. A lot. Huge Terminator fan. Huge Star Wars fan. Terminator Dark Fate, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, both were terrible movies. Highly disappointed. This movie, you will not walk out disappointed at all whatsoever. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? 1917. Have you seen the movie? Go see the movie if you haven't seen the movie. So guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me. And we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.